It's 2019, the year we might see the next PlayStation. Well, at least we got some new rumors and news regarding a new console and future games we might see, like a new Uncharted. And do we get DLC for one of my favorite games of 2018? Let's get into it. If you enjoyed that, then a like would be super appreciated. And let's go. Let's start with something very interesting. So Naughty Dog might be done with Uncharted. They are of course now working on The Last of Us Part 2 and already said that Uncharted 4 was kind of the end of the franchise. Okay, at least to Nathan Drake's story, we of course got the beautiful ending in Uncharted 4, but it seems like Sony is not ready to let go yet, because many things point towards a new studio in San Diego working on the next chapter of this series instead. We now namely got a brand new job listing saying that Sony is looking for a lead character artist in San Diego for the next chapter of cinematic storytelling. Here's your chance to be part of a multi-award winning team responsible for the cinematic performances in premier Sony PlayStation franchises like Uncharted, The Last of Us, Killzone and other iconic series, and I love how they focus on Naughty Dog games here. So yes, I agree that this totally does not confirm that a new Uncharted is coming to likely the PlayStation 5, right? But it does line up with earlier things we heard about this new San Diego studio. Back in April we heard about this new development team in San Diego, that they were looking for people with third-person action game experience to work on a project in collaboration with a major Sony development studio. And of course, if they were making a new Uncharted game, then you would want to work closely with Naughty Dog, the original creators. That would of course be extremely important. We got Doba King91 on Reset Era digging up a LinkedIn profile from a character technical director who worked at Naughty Dog on an unannounced project, and that was at the end of 2017 and early 2018. So this could be that collaboration on this new Uncharted game for sure. Because the interesting part is that The Last of Us Part 2 is also mentioned here on this LinkedIn profile. I find it hard to believe that Naughty Dog is working on anything else other than The Last of Us Part 2, but I think it's way more likely that some developers at Naughty Dog are helping this San Diego team to create an Uncharted game, because they of course got a ton of experience. And I would totally be down for a new Uncharted game that was made by a new team, but with the help from Naughty Dog. Focus on different characters, but make it of course in the same universe. And if you have a ton of spectacle and action moments, I think this can totally work out. And yes, it makes sense that Sony would invest in a team to work on a new Uncharted game, even if Naughty Dog was not making it, because it will totally sell millions of copies and it would be a nice system seller for the next PlayStation as well. And by the way, the last update we got on The Last of Us Part 2 is this tweet from Neil Druckmann, the vice president of Naughty Dog, saying that this was one of the most complicated and heart-wrenching scenes we have ever worked on. We see Ashley, who plays Ellie, of course, on the guitar, and Shannon Woodward, who plays Dina, is sitting next to her. We of course saw these two girls in the E3 2018 trailer already, and it turns out they have some more scenes together. But there's more. We got the text, more to come next year, and that kind of says a lot, likely referring to new footage of the game that should then be coming in 2019 instead of the game's release. And yes, I always thought that The Last of Us Part 2 was far away, but now a 2020 release makes even more sense. Likely in the final year of the PlayStation 4 then, just like we saw with the first Last of Us that of course released on the PlayStation 3 after the PS4 was already announced. Like, totally take your time, Naughty Dog. I can't wait either way. What is of course also interesting is that Sony does not have any events scheduled for 2019. While this tweet of course suggests that we might get a new look at The Last of Us Part 2 at some sort of event. So I'm really curious to see what Sony has in store for us in 2019. I mean, I think that one of the big three upcoming PS4 exclusives, Ghost of Tsushima, Death Stranding and The Last of Us Part 2, is coming out in 2019. So yes, you would think that if there will not be this PlayStation 5 reveal event, that we would at least get an event where they kind of celebrate the new releases coming in 2019, because they have even more games. Of course, Days Gone, dreams and stuff like that as well. With no E3 2019 presence, I'm really curious to see what Sony will do to hype up their games. Moving on to some PlayStation 5 rumors, because we got footage of Gran Turismo Sport running at 8K with 120 FPS on Sony's new Crystal LED display system technology. But yeah, of course, no console that is out right now is able to run a game like that. Of course, this was recorded with a phone and uploaded to YouTube by TomK3SGT. So yeah, it's hard to see the added quality, but there should actually be added depth to textures and better lighting, as Tom noted in the description of this video. So with Sony showing the game on a 440-inch panel with 8K resolution, you might think that it might be running on a PlayStation 5. I think it's really unlikely that the PlayStation 5 is capable of running a game at 8K, but we did have the CEO of Polyphony Digital, the studio behind Gran Turismo, saying that he thought the future versions of the PlayStation, so beyond the PS4 Pro, could run at 8K no problem. Okay, let's first get native 4K, that is still hard to achieve on the PS4 Pro right now, and make sure that a lot of the games that are now 30 FPS but 60 FPS on the PC also run that on the console. Like, playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey on PC at 60 FPS is really night and day compared to the console version. So seeing that change with the next generation of hardware will be really exciting. But I do think that this means that we might see a new version of Gran Turismo Sport as a launch title on the PlayStation 5, like a complete edition with all the content and the enhanced visuals and frame rate. I mean, race games are always nice showcase titles for your new hardware, and Sony likes to have one at launch. We, for example, had Ridge Racer 7 on the PlayStation 3 at launch, and Drive Club was supposed to be the launch game on the PlayStation 4, but was then delayed multiple times. So I think a new version of Gran Turismo Sport as a launch game for the PlayStation 5 is totally likely. And to do that, support Gran Turismo Sport right now and even work on a completely new game, they have to grow. Well, Polyphony Digital opened a new studio in Japan, as reported by PlayStation Lifestyle via Gear Nuke. And the team seems to be 170 people strong already, so a significant increase to the workforce that might help them release their race games more often. Like, we only got one Gran Turismo game this generation, and that game was light on content at launch as well, while Microsoft was able to release a new Forza game every year. So maybe more devs will help Sony with their first party racing problem. But yeah, we at least have likely 1 or maybe 2 full years left with the PlayStation 4, and one of my favorite games of last year was Detroit Become Human, because I love these unique experiences from Quantic Dream, where choices really impact the whole game, and I thought that some of the characters and the setting were really cool. Well, we might get more Detroit, or at least something new from Quantic Dream pretty soon. They ended the year with this tweet, thanking everyone for the awesome 2018, but also saying that we shall be back soon with some great news. Stay well and happy, share your passion and love, and stay tuned. Okay, so maybe Detroit DLC is in the cards? I think it would totally make sense, because they worked really long on this game and now got the engine and of course the assets to do more with this world. They released only one game like this generation, while they released Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls on the PlayStation 3. So instead of them likely moving on to the next generation of hardware, the PlayStation 5, they might want to do more with this world on the PlayStation 4 first. And yes, I say that they will move on to the next generation of hardware, but I'm not sure if they will stay a Sony exclusive studio. Detroit Become Human did sell 2 million copies though, so that should be enough for a nice profit for the studio. But it's not a lot compared to the other exclusives like Horizon Zero Dawn, Spider-Man and God of War. So it will be interesting to see if Sony wants to invest in another project with this studio. I do hope they continue to collaborate with Quantic Dream though, because they really make the Sony exclusive lineup more diverse. But yeah, we will see what happens. Quantic Dream at least seems happy with what the future holds. And by the way, if you go back to Detroit in the new year, you will get a really cool welcome message from Chloe. Look at this.
On behalf of CyberLife, I wish you a happy new year. Best wishes to you and the ones you love.
And don't worry, even if you set her free, then upon starting up the game again, you can get her back. You just have to select yes when you see this message, and then she will be back. And then what I had to do was close the game and then go back into the game to have this Happy New Year message. This is really one of the best menus, maybe even the best game menu ever. So when we know more about this, thieves from Quantic Dream, and of course PlayStation 5 rumors and info about future PlayStation exclusives, then I will of course let you know here on the channel. So totally subscribe to stay up to date on everything PlayStation. Like this video to support the channel. Check out my recent video on big games I think will be announced in 2019 with some proof to back it up, including maybe the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn. I will speak to you next time. For now, and goodbye.